I want you to imagine planning your dream wedding in Bali, paying thousands of dollars to fly your best friend across the world to be there with you, and then standing at the altar looking around and she's nowhere to be found. No call, no text, no explanation, just gone. Now imagine finding out weeks later that she was in Bali the entire time. She just wasn't at your wedding. She was on the beach, with another man, in the hotel room you paid for. That is exactly what my former best friend Sarah did to me. And what happened next, including a 3-page invoice she sent me, a courtroom showdown, and one final Instagram post that destroyed her entire life, is something I still can't fully believe actually happened. Stay with me, because this story has more twists than I even knew what to do with. My name is Maya. I'm 25 years old and I got married to my husband Daniel earlier this year in Bali, Indonesia. It was a destination wedding, something Daniel and I had dreamed about for years. We wanted it to feel intimate and special, so we kept the guest list small. Close family and a handful of our closest friends. Now, because we were asking people to travel internationally, we made a decision that not many couples make. We covered the cost of flights and hotel stays for all of our friends who attended. Each plane ticket was around $2,000. Hotel for the week was between $150 and $300 per night. It was expensive, but these were the people we loved most in the world, and we wanted them there no matter what. One of those people was Sarah. Sarah and I had been best friends for over 10 years. We met in high school, went through everything together: heartbreaks, losses, celebrations. When my dad passed away a few years ago, she was one of the first people I called. She was my person, or at least I thought she was. Sarah had recently gotten married herself to her husband Mike. When I invited her to our Bali wedding, she was thrilled. She said she'd been dying to visit Bali and couldn't believe we were getting married there. I told her I'd cover her flight and hotel. She cried, said I was the best friend she'd ever had. I booked everything. $2,387 total for her flight and accommodation. And then our wedding day came, and Sarah never showed up. At first I tried to stay calm. It was my wedding day and I didn't want to spiral. I told myself maybe something happened. Maybe she was sick. Maybe there was an emergency, but she didn't answer my calls. She didn't reply to my texts. I got married without her there. And as beautiful as the day was, there was a hollow feeling every time I looked at the spot where she was supposed to be standing. A few days after I got back home, she finally messaged me. Her explanation? She said that since she and Mike couldn't afford their own honeymoon, they decided my Bali trip was the perfect opportunity for one, and that Mike simply didn't feel like going to the wedding. I read that message 4 times. She used my wedding trip as her honeymoon, and her husband didn't feel like showing up to celebrate me. I was devastated. 10 years of friendship. And this is how she saw me, as a free travel opportunity. I decided I needed proof before I did anything, so I messaged her carefully. I wrote, "Hey, I've been quiet because I needed time to process. I just want to understand, did you really think I paid $2,387 for you to use as a honeymoon? I pulled every string to make sure you could be there." She replied, "I know the trip was for the wedding, but Mike didn't want to go because he felt like your wedding would ruin the honeymoon vibe. I thought you'd understand." I screenshotted everything. Then I sent her an invoice for $2,387.53, the exact cost of her flight and hotel, and gave her 30 days to pay before I took legal action. She never responded, but she did start posting subliminal quotes on Instagram about entitled friends and snakes in your circle. I said nothing. I just kept getting my ducks in a row. I thought the honeymoon excuse was the most unhinged thing she could possibly do. I was wrong. About 2 weeks after I sent the invoice, Sarah sent me a document. A 3-page document. A fully itemized financial and emotional audit of our entire friendship going back to 2015. I wish I was making this up. She had listed every single meal we had ever eaten together, estimated at $18 per meal, going back nearly a decade. Gas money for every time she drove to hang out with me. A birthday gift from 2017 that she claimed she went into debt for. Emotional support after my dad died. She wanted to be compensated for what she called grief counseling services, even though the extent of that support was one 30-minute phone call. One time she helped me move apartments. She wanted to be paid for her labor, and emotional distress caused by me threatening to sue her. Her grand total? $2,412.09. which, and I need you to notice this, is exactly $24.56 more than what I invoiced her. She concluded the document by saying that if we were really keeping score, I actually owed her money. I stared at that message for a full 10 minutes. I had bought her gifts for years, let her stay at my house multiple times when she and Mike fought, supported her through every hard season of her life. But apparently in Sarah's world, friendship is billable. I gave the message a thumbs-up reaction because if I had responded with words I would have said something I truly couldn't take back. I just waited for the court date. While I was preparing for court, I was going through photos from Bali on my phone. I ended up on the Instagram page of a local photographer who had taken photos of me and Daniel during a sailing excursion we went on. I was scrolling through their feed looking at random tourist photos when I saw a very familiar face. It was Sarah, but she wasn't with Mike. She was with a man I had never seen before. There were multiple photos, one of them sitting together with cocktails, one with his arm around her, and one of them kissing. My stomach dropped, and then everything clicked. Our wedding was the day after everyone landed in Bali. I had never seen Sarah at the hotel, never bumped into her around town. I assumed she was lying low to avoid confrontation with me. But she wasn't lying low. She wasn't even with Mike. She hadn't used my wedding trip as a honeymoon with her husband. She had used it to have an affair. I did some digging. Searched her Instagram followers. Nothing. Searched her comments. Nothing. Then I remembered she had a small pottery account she never really promoted, and there he was. His name was Ryan. And his own Instagram page had multiple photos from Bali, including one taken inside the hotel room I had paid for. I had everything I needed. On the day of our court hearing, I presented my case clearly. I told the judge I had paid for Sarah's trip specifically so she could attend my wedding. I showed the text messages where she confirmed she received the flight and hotel. I showed her admission that she used the trip as a honeymoon instead. Sarah told the judge the trip was a gift for her marriage and not conditional on attendance. The judge didn't buy it. I was awarded the full amount, $2,387.53. Sarah walked out of that courtroom without looking at me once. I knew she was furious. And as I expected, she went straight to Instagram. This time she didn't hold back at all. She posted my photos calling me fat. Said I deserved to never have children. Said she would spit on my grandmother's grave, my grandmother who had passed away 2 years earlier. I had stayed quiet every single time she posted about me before. I had taken the high road over and over again, not this time. I posted the photo of her kissing Ryan on my Instagram story. I tagged her, and I tagged Mike. The caption, "Sorry we missed you at the wedding, hope you had fun in Bali." Within minutes my phone was exploding. Calls, texts, voicemails, her screaming. Before I blocked her on everything, I sent her one final message. "You should have just come to the wedding. 10 years of friendship." And it ended because she couldn't just show up. I don't miss Sarah, I miss who I thought she was. Person who sent me a 3-page invoice for a 30-minute phone call and used my wedding to cheat on her husband was never really my friend to begin with. Sometimes people show you exactly who they are. The hard part is believing them. If this story hit close to home, if you've ever had someone you trusted completely betray you in a way you never saw coming, drop it in the comments. I read every single one and I want to hear your story. And if you want to see more stories like this one, subscribe. Because I have plenty more where this came from. I'll see you in the next one. And before you go, please let me know where you are watching from and what time is it there. I love seeing where these stories reach.